Hey, good morning, guys. Thanks for joining. Thanks for joining the ETRAGE webinar today on document management for manufacturing. For those who are new to our webinars, note that everyone is muted. If you have questions at any point during the webinar, please use the Q&A icon on the top left. We will address the questions towards the end of the webinar. You'll be able to find a recording of this webinar on ETRAGE YouTube channel. I encourage you to check that out. We have quite the library built up there on Creo, Windchill, and ETRAGE solutions. So very helpful resource. I'm Connor. I'm an account representative, and with me is Ephraim from our PLM team, who will be leading our demo. We've both been in the PTC partner space for over a decade. We both enjoy helping people define their business challenges and are pretty good at presenting appropriate solutions. Just a quick view of the agenda today. You will present the demo and then get the questions afterwards. So just a little bit about ETRAGE. ETRAGE is a global company with over 20 years of experience in helping PLM adoption, moving beyond engineering and throughout companies' entire enterprises. For most companies, adoption is not a one-time event, but is a strategic and ongoing throughout the year. Their adoption is truly about continuous improvement for their organization, and it adjusts over time. As PTC technology partner, we continue to develop solutions as well as support Creo and Windchill as companies continue to move towards a complete digital footprint and away from paper and siloed databases. ETRAGE is focused on continuous PLM adoption by addressing the systems, management, and end users' needs. We do this for all size companies and all different types of industries. ETRAGE helps eliminate data silos by integrating legacy data that lives in multiple systems, supporting standardization and automation and streamlined management, enforcing data governance, and addressing scalability as your employee bases grow. To help companies move past uncertainty, ETRAGE provides both software and services to streamline their product development and manufacturing. You can learn more about our software and services solutions from past webinars on our website, or reach out. We're happy to start a discussion. Today, we're looking at eliminating silos by our self-developed document management tool that enforces best practices across the enterprise. And Ephraim, I will kick it over to you.
Thank you so much, Connor, and thanks everybody for joining today's webinar on document management system. So we all know that in the manufacturing industry, every blueprint, specification, certificate has an impact on production, the quality of the product, and safety around manufacturing the product. And when those documents are not well managed, errors multiply and the manufacturing processes stop, delaying the product from going out, and the cost shoots up. That is why the document management is a critical necessity in the manufacturing environment. So the biggest challenge in manufacturing is basically just keeping these technical documents up to date and accessible to anyone who needs to use them. An outdated version of a manual drawing or something simple as incorrect material order can lead to defective products, costly rework, which also delays the product also from going out, and also non-compliance. So a tool such as ETRAGE document management that we will be showing you today is designed to manage, store, and track documents related to manufacturing processes. It ensures that critical documents, such as your standard operating procedures, the work instructions, quality control records, compliance documents, and many more are accurate, up-to-date, accessible, and most importantly, secured. So it simply stores all this manufacturing-related information into a single secured digital platform. And the document management system basically handles lots of file formats, if not all of them. So anything from the PDF, Microsoft Office document, images, videos, and many other file types. So the system easily handles that type of information. So the features of the system is that documents are stored in a central repository. So basically having a single source of truth for all your manufacturing information or documents. It is most importantly version control, making sure that all the changes are tracked. We know exactly who's made changes to what, and allowing you to also keep the history versions of those documents for purposes of audit and so on. And it also have a check-in, check-out feature and login documents to coordinate simultaneous editing and making sure that you avoid overwriting each other's work. It also have a very robust search function that allows you to efficiently retrieve data based on the document type, date, and searching against things as simple as indexed data. So what happens is when you check in your document into the system, it basically indexes all the keywords within the document itself. And now if you don't remember the name and the number or any other metadata about that document, but you know some keywords in the document, you can actually use that to search and find the information you're looking for. And the important bit as well there is it's got role-based access restrictions set up to it to ensure that only authorized users get to see or access information at the right time of the process. So this, in essence, reduces the risk of data breaches compared to the traditional paper-based systems. And also with that audit trail that gets kept, we can always see who's made certain changes and what was the reason for those changes. And that also allows the tool or the DMS tool to be compliant with regulations like your ISO standards. The other one is with the workflow. It's got predefined workflows for approval and review processes that basically automates certain processes in the system. And again, reduces physical storage needs by digitizing documents, saving you space and cost associated with the traditional file-based filing. And the one important part of this is the collaboration side of it, which allows multi-user editing and basically sharing a single document and working on a single document in a controlled environment, which in turn enables you to seamlessly communicate between teams, even across multiple locations. And as I said, it supports a whole lot of file types as well. So the benefits that it comes with is by basically providing many ways to quickly access documents, reducing time spent looking for this information. So normally in the traditional way of file-based or paper-based, you'll have to go into the storage and look for this file. And if you don't understand how the cabinets are being set up, it becomes very difficult to find that information. But in this case, anything you remember about the document, you can actually search against that, and then it will return the information. So it reduces paper usage, storage cost, and time spent on that manual process of trying to find this information in the cabinets. And importantly, sensitive data or information, it's secured, access control applied to it. you only see what you needed to see. And because the system itself is web-based, it enables you to access it from anywhere in the world. As long as you've got access to internet, then you can access the system. So again, enabling that seamless communication between the team that are working in that product. So now I'm going to take you through the software itself, or the tool itself, and show it to you. So I want to start off by just showing you a couple of methods or login methods that are supported by the tool itself. It is through the SQL Server, which is what I will be using for today. So the login credentials are essentially stored in the SQL database table. Then it also supports the Active Directory or corporate Active Directory, as well as the Windows login authentication. Any LDAP tool can also be used as the authentication app for this. And lastly, the single sign-on is also supported. So I'm going to use the SQL Server in my case. I've put in my username, the password is in there, and then I'll log into the system. Then as soon as I log into the system, it's taking me to the home page. And there's a couple of sections on this home page that I want to talk about. The first section here is just the welcome message. And the nice thing with this is you can customize it based on your company needs. And it can also be used to communicate critical information about the system, or critical information about any manufacturing process or whatever data we have in the system. For instance, if we need to take down the system this weekend for maintenance, we can communicate that information in this portion here. And every users of the system will be able to see that information and know that the system will be offline at this time. And the second part of this is to-do list at the bottom here. So the nice thing with this also is it gives you a quick access to information that you need to action on. For instance, the first link on here will show you the objects that are logged out to you or checked out to you, currently working on them. Other users can still see the document, but they can't modify it because it's logged out to you. So from this here, I can see I only have one file that I'm currently working on. If I were to click on that, it will take me directly to that file. So I know exactly this is the file I've been working on. I can carry on working on that file. The second one is the tasks that are assigned to me. If I need to approve a certain approval process, I will have that task showing under this link, and then I can go in and action it from there, or directly from there. And then the third link here is for the objects that are expiring in the system. So in the manufacturing world, we know, especially when it comes to compliance certificates, things like the ISO 9001 standards, those sort of documents will need to be reissued every 2 or 3 years. So the system allows you to add those documents into the system and also set an expiry date, something that will also remind you that, okay, this certificate is now expired. Even with the SOP documents, if you know that we need to review it every year or every 6 months, you can also set the expiry date that basically says after 6 months, we need to go in and review this document again. And every user in the system would be able to see, would be able to immediately see once the document is expired, that they can't use it at that time. And the other link here is the link that actually takes you directly to the folder view of the system, which we'll get to in a bit here. And the other side of this is the favorites, or the bookmark. So I can basically go into the system and bookmark a document that I frequently work on, so that if I need to access it, I can simply click on that link there and it takes me directly to that file. And looking at this file also, I can also see that it's expiring on this time. It also gives me like a countdown of when that file will expire. And not only files that you can add to favorites, folders as well. So now let's go through and explore the system. So now I'm logged in as myself here, and then I am the product manager for this particular product or project. So if I click on the Explorer, it takes me to the folder view. And something that I want you to note here is we have intentionally created it this way to sort of copy or mimic how the Windows Explorer is. That is to make it easy for anyone, even if you're not trained on using the system, and makes it very easy to use the system if you have an experience of working on a Windows environment. So the view looks exactly the same. How the folder works is also exactly the same. So what you get in the system is that first folder, which becomes like a personal folder or a home drive, as it's also called. This is where I can store my personal information that is only visible to me, and yeah, I can sort of add that. And what I can also do is I can create subfolders for that information in there as well. And the favorites, it's exactly what I've shown you on the other page. You know, just a list whatever you've marked as favorites. And then the main folder is this one here, the root folder. And the root folder would have, you know, different projects folder or different department folders in here. So I know we had mentioned this topic around manufacturing, but I wanted to mention that the system is not only limited to manufacturing departments. Other departments in the company who uses documents, manage documents, and they want to have a controlled document space, they can also use this system. So human resource information, IT department, they can use this information, and it can be set for them to only have access to the system. The only reason I'm seeing everything is because I am the product manager on here. And the other thing is I can also share information with my external contributors without compromising our IP. So in this case, I can share some information with suppliers, and I can also make sure that, you know, certain suppliers can see other suppliers' information. So I can still set it up that way and set permissions to allow those specific suppliers to have access to their own information. So for today's demo, I'll go into the demo project. You'd see I've also further organized my structure with subfolders in here as well. And then you'll see also on here, I also have the table with different attributes about the folders, and same about the documents that I'm gonna show you in a bit. The one thing I wanted to show is if I want to quickly add a folder or a file to favorites, can just click on that icon there, and then you'll see it immediately adds that folder to my favorites list. If I want to remove it, just click on that. My SOP folder is now being removed from the list. So to get to the document files from here, if I'm someone who's interested in looking at the SOPs, I'll go into the SOPs folder, and again, I also get a table with different attributes about this. You can see this is the file is now being released, and they all under the revision 1, iteration 1. If I want to go in and look at the details about this product, so additional attributes about this product, I'll click on the link, and then it takes me into the details page about this file. I can see the number, I can see when was it created and modified, states, that sort of information is specified on here. And if I go just one back, if I then need to add a new SOP file into this folder, the process is fairly simple. Just click on the new drop down here, and you'll see I've got different options on the drop down list here. The folder being if I need to just create a subfolder for this particular SOP folder, you'll then create a subfolder, give it a name, and then create a folder. That's just simple as that. And if I need to create a file, it's just single file, and then I can then simply go in and find SOP that I'm interested in bringing in. So here is one, bring it in, the name autofilled, I'm happy with that. If I need to take this through a specific or through an advanced promotion process or approval process, I'll then have to change my workflow here from standard to change request. So with standard, it simply means I can simply release this without having formal approval process. And whereas the change process will allow me to take it through change process, have approvers and so on. So I'll pick that formal approval process and then create the file. So my file is now created and added into the system, indexed and everything. Then the other options that I wanted to just explain is the multi-files. So multi-files simply means I can go in and pick, a couple of files on the list and then run them in at the same time. So being able to create multiple files with just a single action. And then we'll talk about the multi-file documents towards the end, and we'll just show you how it also works. So if I need to go in and modify this paint procedure SOP that I've just added, I can simply go in, right-click, edit, and check it out and download. And that checks out that file. I can go in and modify the file and then bring it back into the system. And you'll also see, as soon as I edit this, it logs this file to me. You can see with that pencil icon over there. And it also shows me that the edit type at the moment is not edit. It means only I can make changes to this file. If I realize, okay, I don't really need to make any changes to this file, I can just go back in there and just say, and do checkout on that list. Couple of functions we can also look at on here is, if I want to monitor any event that is happening to a specific document, if I'm interested in seeing when it's been modified and things like that, I can go in and subscribe to that document. Subscribe to the document, and I can then specify the event that I'm subscribing to. If I want to see if this object has been set for expiration, I can pick that and then set that as a subscription to me. So every time an expiration is set on the document, it will let me know. So now I'm going to go ahead and just release this document. It is through the formal change process. So I'm going to go ahead and release this. So in here, I'm going to say I want to put it under approval, then transition it to under approval. This document is currently under approval. Anyone who's looking at it will see it's under approval, so they won't be able to make anything to it. Then with the approval process, I've got a couple of options here. I can approve it for released or reject, or maybe rework. So I need to go in and pick what am I putting it through the approval for. So in this case, it's for released. And you'll immediately see on the list here, I have the approvers that I have set for this particular project. It will be my administrator and then myself. I can add to the list if I need to as well. So I'm happy with these two approvers. I'll go in and just set it to be released for approvers. And then because I am part of the approvers, I'll then go in and vote for the released. Voted for the released, but you'll realize the document is not released yet because it's waiting for the second approval from my administrator. Now I'll log in as the administrator. You'll see there I'm logged in as the administrator of the system. And then if I just refresh this page here, you will see now on the to-do list, I can already see there's a task that's been assigned to me that I need to action. I'll go into it and I see is that SOP that we've just added to the system. And I can go in and decide if I want to send this for rework, if I'm not happy with something, or I can release it. Formal process, done, released. That part document is now released. If I refresh from my view and just go back to the folder view, we'll see that the document is released. So if I need to change anything on this document, I'll have to revise it. So it goes over to the next revision of the file. So that is how simple, streamlined this workflow is in this case. And I want to mention that that is a very simple workflow that we've created, but we can create, workflow customized based on your manufacturing process. If it needs to go to quality or whatever else for approval, we can set it up that way. The idea is to make it as simple as possible, streamline it, and make it as user-friendly as possible. So yes, that's how you would create a new file, and then you would basically release it. And the other thing I wanted to show you is, as I said, the system has got that previous versions retentions. So I've got a file here which is at revision 5. So if I want to look at all the revisions of these files, I can just right click on it and then go to the history view of this file. Then this shows me the entire history of this file. Everything I need to know in terms of what changed on this file. So if someone comes through for audit and they want to see what changed and who did the change, they're able to see that information from here. And again, I can download all those previous, although I can't modify them, I can download them and see how they looked at that time. But the other thing I wanted to show here is this table, the revert table, where you can basically revert back to the previous revisions of the files. But it's worth mentioning that I cannot do it even though I'm the product manager. Only the system administrator can change this. So if I simply quickly show you that, I'm now back again as the administrator. I'll go back to that file that we were looking at, which is this one here. Look at the history revision of it. So you'll notice this is now active, these buttons are now active under here. If we need to go back to the release version of revision 3 on this file, as an administrator, I can revert back to that. But the nice thing with this is it does not delete all the other versions past this particular version. As an administrator, I can still see those reverted version information in there as well. So they're still here, just grayed out because they're not the latest. They can at any time go back to those files if needs be. And again, we can still download those files to see how they looked at the time. So our file is now moved back to the older revision that we reverted back to. So that is one of the functions that is available in there. Because we have all this history available, we can always jump between these revisions. If we realize we have made a mistake, we need to go back to the older revisions. The other way of bringing in information on here it's also a question we get a lot is we have the legacy data that's been created, set up in its subfolders. How do we bring that in with just a one action function? So I'm going to show you the data that we want to bring in. So it is some departmental data with different folders for different departments that we want to bring into this project. So what you then need to do is you just need to create a zip file of that file so that we can bring it in. And then I'm going to go back to where I want to edit, which is in this demo folder. And then I'm going to use the function that's called upload and unzip. It means exactly that. It uploads that file and unzips it once it gets into the system. So let's go ahead and do that. Pick the file, and you get that option there that says, do you want to create the folders, which is the folders plus the subfolders in this case? And yeah, that's what we want to do. And we want to just leave those files as the standard process. And then I'll go ahead and hit the action to upload. There's about 16 files in there that were just uploaded in about 3 seconds we have all the files added, and there is the folder with all the subfolders in it, and all the files in those subfolders. So with that one action, I can easily migrate data from my local system into this document management tool. And like I said, I mean, it's about 16 files. It took about 3 seconds to load all these files into my system. Again, if I'm not, happy with a certain file and I want to get rid of it from the system, I can pick on the file and just delete it. The nice thing with this is if I realized that I've deleted the wrong file, I wasn't supposed to delete that file, there is a trash can here that basically keeps these files. So at any given time, I can go back and restore this file back into the system. And that is if I've deleted it by mistake. But in this case, yeah, I wanted to get rid of that file. So it has a retention period in that recycle bin. So after some time, it will be truncated and deleted from the trash bin. So the other thing I wanted to just quickly show is that function of the multi-file document. So this is a process where I can simply create a document. I'm creating a document, but what I can also do is I can add additional documents to this file as the secondary document type. So I'm adding this just as the supporting documents to this primary document. So the main or other use cases for this is I might have a technical document about a certain assembly like this that has supporting documents like your drawing, a 3D view file, and other additional file like DXF that goes with this technical document, but I want to manage them as just one file. So if I need to control them, put them through the process, I want them to be just one file because it is a packaged file. So you just create something like this, a file like this, and then at the bottom here, basically add, or it will contain those supporting documents. So at any given point, I can open that drawing or a 3D file and view it in a 3D view tool. Or a DXF, I can download the DXF file, share it with someone who needs to use it in a CNC machine to machine something. So yeah, you'll use this as a package. The other use case for it is if I wanna, so I've got a drawings for this particular project, but which is a drawing transmittal, but I want to manage it just as one document. So I'll create a transmittal document and then I'll add all the drawings in that transmittal document. And if I need to share it with my supplier through a tool, I can do that, and they'll be able to see the contents of that transmittal document in this format. The other function I wanted to show is, again, we can package different type of documents, zip them, and send them out to a vendor, a supplier as well. So what I like about this tool is I can go into, for instance, an SOP, select items from there. It shows me I've got 2 items selected from that folder. I can jump back to, another folder, and that parts catalog folder. I can pick another object. It doesn't remove the selections that I have previously. It adds that to the list as well. So I can go and say, okay, there's work instructions that I want to also include in there. And then in there, zip and download this file. I've got my package created that I can share offline with my my suppliers or my external contributors. It basically downloaded everything that I needed for this particular package, making it very easy to share this sort of information offline. So the other thing I had mentioned was the fact that you can share information with suppliers. So this is our supplier in the very same system. And again, I want to just show you that for this supplier, they also have access to that root folder, but they can't see the folders that we were able to see. They can only see the supplier folder. There's actually two folders under here, but they can only see this one with the file in there. So if we have an example RFQ that we want to send out to a couple of suppliers, to get the code from them, we can do that by sharing that file without actually moving it to that folder. So we use this with the function called the link. So you can simply say, link this file of mine to this supplier for the code. And then let's also get a competitive code from the other supplier as well. The second supplier. Link it there. So if I go back to the supplier folders, you'll see that file has been shared in there. It's also been shared in there for that request for code. And if I go back to the supplier folder now, we'll be able to see that file. Open up, get information on what we need as far as this goes, review it, and then provide us the information that we need. What I can also do is, because obviously prices change, things change, I can also set an expiry date on this to say this is out for RFQ for a month, and then it'll notify me once it expires, and I can basically put it back, update it, and reshare it if I need to. So again, if I go back to that RFQ folder, so once we're happy with the information we got, they might have placed it in that very same folder as well. And I can go in and just remove this link, unlink this file to other folders and unlink it. Now that file is now been removed from the supplier folders. It is no longer there. When it comes to permissions as well, a user like someone who's just a technician Smith in this case, when he goes into that very same project folder that we were looking at now, you'll notice that they cannot see the other folders. They can see the folders that concerns them only. In this case, the working instructions, is OP, and some departmental information that they would need. So this is all the information that they can see and access. Yeah, that is all I had prepared for you as far as the demo goes on the system. There's obviously a lot of things we can do with this and show. But I mean, if you're interested in seeing, a demo customized to your environment, or you want to discuss your requirements further, yeah, we can always have a separate session for that. So I'm going to go back to my presentation and hand it back to Connor.
Yeah, Ephraim, thank you so much for that great presentation. We did have a question come in. Let me pull that up. The tool looks simple and clean. Do you need a consultant to create workflows and approval processes, or would our staff be able to handle it? Any commentary on how hard it is to set up some of these workflows?
Great question. So for all the tools that we offer, they're very clean, simple, easy to use. So it will be a matter of just showing you how to create one or two of this, and from there you can create your own. It's fairly simple, and yeah, I mean, a lot of those are in the administrator portal. Very simple, straightforward to use. Add user, add groups. It's very easy to figure it out. You don't really need consulting consultant to assist you with that. We can just hold your hand at the beginning, just maybe for one or two of those, and yeah, from there you should be able to do it on your own. It's that simple.
So you wouldn't need to bring in, say, like a SharePoint specialist or something of that vein.
No,
Learn quickly. Okay.
no.
Perfect. All right. Well, thank you so much. I want to thank everyone for joining. And we have a couple additional webinars coming up and some training classes. I just kind of want to point out that business administration of Windchill class that targets decision makers in Windchill. So if you're kind of wondering how can we use Windchill to a better extent, that class really dives into the whole realm of possibilities with the tool, and we really like getting management into that class so they can, go back with kind of the big picture on Windchill and help grow their organization. But yeah, thanks for joining. You should be able to find this on YouTube. Take care.